in October of 2019, I started a battle. I started a battle against Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Manchester United. Now, granted, neither of those parties know anything about the fact that we started a battle, but a battle commenced nonetheless. I spent one season at Manchester United and set the real manager of Manchester United, Solskjaer, targets to beat. Has he managed to do it? Let's find out. Welcome to FM20 Beta Battle, the results. So here we are back again. It's taken an awful lot longer than we all thought it would to get through the real Premier League season and the European campaign for all of the top level clubs in real terms this time round because of a certain virus. But finally, the season has been completed and we can check in and see how we compared to what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did at Manchester United. This is a series I did for 2 weeks around the beta release of Football Manager 20 back in October 2019. I spent one season at Manchester United and we're going to compare and see how I got on compared to how Solskjaer did. So, first off, we can have a look in the league table and find out that I finished in 4th position, so 1 place behind Manchester United in real terms, but they only got about 66 points, I think it was, and I got 83, and I was a goal difference away from 3rd place, which not too bad, and only 4 points off both Man City and Liverpool at the top of the table. So who wins this one? I'm going to let you decide that. Is it positional or is it points? What do you reckon about that as a way to figure out the result? Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on this one. Let's go into the actual competition page. It will make it easier to see what we did across the board. So, in the Euro Cup, I won the competition. I got all the way through to the final and won the competition, and Solskjaer got into the semi-final and got knocked out by Sevilla. So I'm going to take this one as a well and truly well-earned win. In the FA Cup, again, Solskjaer managed a semi-final. They got beaten by Chelsea in the semi-final. We got all the way to the final and we won it. So again, I'm going to take this as a win. But in the Carabao Cup, the League Cup, they outplayed us completely. They got all the way again to the semi-final, got knocked out by Manchester City. We also got knocked out by Manchester City, but we did so in the 4th round, quite early on in the competition. So Solskjaer wins this one. So by my calculations, I won the Euro, I won the FA Cup, he won the Carabao Cup, and the league is a little bit up in the air. You'll have to let me know what you think. Did I win it because I got more points? Did he win it because he got the extra place? If he wins the Premier League, then we are 2-2 and it becomes a draw for this particular version of the beta battle. If I win it because I got 17 more points than he did, then I win 3-1 overall. You decide, you let me know in the comments below. But how did I achieve this? How did we do this at Manchester United for that one season? Let's go and have a look into the schedule and we're going to break it down and look through the various competitions. So this is our Carabao Cup, the League Cup. And as I say, it was not a good performance by us in any way, shape or form at all. We beat Wolves in our first knockout stage round. And then we came up against Manchester City and we lost 4-3 on that particular game and went out at the 4th round stage, and it really was not good enough. If we go into the FA Cup and we just look at the FA Cup run, this is a competition I won. We started at Preston and beat them 3-2. We played a rotated side just to see if we could get some players some fitness. We then played Wolves and beat them quite comfortably 3-1. Again with a rotated side. We played quite a rotated side for a lot of this competition. We came up against our arch rivals Manchester City in the next round of the FA Cup, but we actually beat them on penalties after a 2-2 draw in the match itself. Against Newcastle up next, we only got a 1-0 win. It was quite a squeaky game. We just managed to squeak our way past them, thanks to Martial getting a 78th minute winner. And that put us through into the semi-final of the competition against Norwich. And after extra time, Rashford got a goal in the 119th minute, 1 minute to go in the game, and it gave us the 2-1 win in extra time, which put us into the final. And again, it wasn't a particularly good performance, but we did beat Leicester City in the final 1-0, thanks to Moussa Dembele. And we'll get onto the transfers later as to who I got rid of and who I bought in, but there is one for you in Moussa Dembele. So what I would say is, if you were to take Man City out of this run, it wasn't the hardest run to the final, was it really? Leicester City are a good side, but we did make a little bit hard work of it occasionally. But that Man City game in the middle of it makes it all the more viable to call that a successful run, because they're a really good side and we managed to get past them. So that was my FA Cup run. If we go into the Euro Cup, this is my Euro Cup run. We had a fairly easy group. Copenhagen, Wolfsberger and Maribor were the competition in the group, and you can see that other than a 0-0 draw to start with, we dominated the group very, very comfortably. And that put us into the first knockout stage against Borussia Mönchengladbach, and we went through very comfortably here too. 4-0 on aggregate. Rashford and Dembele, identical scoreline in both, almost identical in terms of when they scored as well. But it was a very comfortable win. That put us through to the next round against Roma. And Roma are a decent side. They got a 0-0 draw at Old Trafford, which worried me a little bit for a while. But the second leg was far more straightforward for us once we got into the second half. Rashford and another of the new boys, Lewis Cook, got the 2 goals there. And it put us through to the quarterfinals of the the Europa League. Sorry, getting ahead of myself with the Champions League. And it put us up against the big powerhouse of PSG, who'd found themselves dropped down into the Europa League. And again, we did really well. At home, a 3-1 win. Rashford got 2 and Moussa Dembele got 1. And in the next game, we got a 1-0 win away from home. Andrea Pereira got that 1 goal. And we went through 4-1 on aggregate, which was a fantastic result for us. Put us through to the semi-final against Lazio. We got a 0-0 draw away from home, which wasn't too bad. Set up a good home opportunity to go through, which we really well and truly took. Marcus Rashford, Paul Pogba, Moussa Dembele getting us a 3-0 win to put us into the final, where we came up against English opposition for the first time in this run. And it was Arsenal in the final of the Europa League. And boy, did we absolutely tonk them. 4-0, Rashford's final, we'll call this one. A hat-trick for Rashford, 5 minutes, 29 minutes, 88th minute. And just before the last of his goals, Anthony Martial got an 86th minute goal as well for a 4-0 win. And it took us all the way through to the Europa League title, which was a great achievement for us. And that was our Europa League run. So ultimately, there was some good sides to play in there. Not so much in the group stages, but Mönchengladbach, Roma, PSG, Lazio, Arsenal. That's a good run of teams to go through. And we made it all the way through and won the trophy. So let's just go and check in with our Premier League form. It started fantastically well. The first sort of 10 games were absolutely perfect. We won loads of them 1-0, but we did keep loads of clean sheets and looked really solid doing it. And then mid-November came round and we went on a bit of a dip. We lost 3 games in the next few weeks and drew several more as well to go on a bit of a downturn in our run of form. We picked it up briefly against Palace and Leicester at the end of December for the calendar year. But then January came along and again it was a mixed bag. Lost against Brighton, drew against Arsenal, drew against Bournemouth, won against Sheffield United, and it just dropped us off the pace of the leaders a little bit at that point. We picked it up again towards the middle of February through March. We had a very good run of form. But you can see all the way through this Premier League, we were a little inconsistent. and that's what caused us. And it was this big run of form here that really knocked us off the pace during November and December, and that did our Premier League title aspirations all a load of harm, and we couldn't quite recover from it. And in the end, you saw that we finished in 4th overall, but very, very narrowly in terms of goal difference to 3rd place, and then only 4th. 4 points off the top 2 as well. So it was all very, very close. So that was the run of form. Those were the different competitions that we entered. We'll put all of them back in again. It was a decent season, but it was inconsistent. But there were some good runs of forms in lots of different cup competitions that helped us out at times to get momentum behind our play. So how did we go about it in terms of the transfer market? Well, in the history, we brought in 114 million into the club. We spent 361 million. And so I would suggest a 4th place finish is not good enough for the amount that we spent. And to be honest, at this point, looking back now, all these months on and having played through the cycle of Football Manager 20 for all of these months, I would not have made half of these signings that I did at the time. But that's what you do when you're first learning what Football Manager 20 is like and who the players are. You go and find a few that maybe later on in the series you wouldn't have used. But there we go. That's what I did. In terms of the outs, right the way up to Sanchez, there was a lot that Manchester United did before I joined the club. Right the way through to Sanchez had already been done. So I sold Matic and Mata and Rojo. I sent Williams and Greenwood out on loan. We got rid of Ashley Young. And late on in February, we sold Fred to China. So those were the main transfers out of the club that we made. In terms of the ones in, again, Manchester United had done a lot of business before I joined the club, but it's these last 5 players that I bought in myself. Greenwood went out, and he didn't really set the place alight for Aston Villa. He got 6 goals in 22 appearances for them, which, wasn't fantastic, really. So I wasn't too disappointed that I sent him out on loan. I think from this point onwards, if I was continuing the save, I would keep him in and try and develop him. For that first season, he went out on loan. So I needed another striker. I bought in Dembele. He played 31 starts for us, 12 from the sub bench, scored 14 goals, 5 assists, 7.07 average rating. Not too bad. Not brilliant by any stretch. I would have liked another 5 or 6 goals on there, really, for the amount of games that he played, but it wasn't too bad. For 40 million, I think it was a fairly decent buy. The next one on the list is Nicola Maru, one of my favourite fullbacks to go to when I need a left-sided fullback. And he came in to support Luke Shaw down the left-hand side. And did very well for us. Played 25 games, 3 as a substitute, 6 assists, 7.16 average rating. Luke Shaw played really well as well. So we had a solid campaign in terms of whoever was playing in our left fullback position. So for £15 million, I think he's a decent buy, and I'm pleased with how he worked for us. Then we move into the 3 English players that I bought in, and I wanted to bring English players into this squad. I wanted a little bit more of an English core, even though they were going to basically play a backup role for a lot of the season. So the first one I bought in was Lewis Cook from Bournemouth. And we spent a lot of money on him and probably overpaid now for what we got. We spent over 60 million on him. He played 28 times for us from the start, 12 as a sub, 5 goals, only 2 assists. And that's the disappointing one for me, is the assists column, 7.10 average rating. This is the guy that rotated into the side in this central midfield area. We'll show the tactic in a minute, when Paul Pogba wasn't playing. This was my Pogba replacement. And so you can see he played a fair amount of games. I like to rotate my 11 in and out. So I have 2 complete 11s and I rotate them in and out. And so the slightly lesser 11 plays some of the slightly lesser games, let's say. But they can do a decent job. And that's the role that Lewis Cook played. So he played a fair amount. Probably overpaid for him, unfortunately. But I wanted English, and he was the best one I could find to come and fulfill the role. Jared Bowen, I think we all know about Jared Bowen. Eventually he moved on to West Ham, didn't he, from Hull, but we picked him up from Hull. Plays out on the wide right hand side, rotated with Jesse Lingard on the right hand side for my Man United side. and did very well for us. In the end, pretty much usurped Lingard and took the position for himself. 26 starts, 9 as a sub, 12 goals, 6 assists from that right-hand side. That's pretty decent. 7.36 average rating. And as I say, pretty much took the position for himself later in the season. And for £26 million, I think that's a very, very good buy, and he did really well for us. Hamza Chowdhury was the last of my buys. We bought him in from Leicester City, again, for over £60 million. Overpaid for him, I think, for what we got a little bit. But he was as good as I could find in terms of a holding midfield player that was English that I really wanted to bring into the side. So he rotated with Scott McTominay primarily. And both of these struggled a little bit. This was the one area of my starting lineup that I could never quite find to work properly. He came in and played 25 matches from the start, 16 as a sub, got 2 goals, 4 assists, 6.97 average rating, and McTominay wasn't much better than that, to be honest. And so they rotated in and out a little bit, these two players, but I could never quite get the best out of either of them, and they were a bit of a weak link. So those were the players I bought in. You've seen the players that I sent out. Let's go and have a look at the tactic I played. So we played the vertical tiki-taka on a positive mentality. In terms of possession, we had a fairly wide attacking width. We used the overlap and played out of defence, shorter passing, higher tempo, time wasting occasionally. Running at the defence was key, especially with the wide men that we had. We counter-pressed, we counter-attacked, we slowed the pace down from the goalkeeper, distributed to the centre-backs, so it went through the side a little bit more through the short passing style of play, and we took short goal kicks into the out of possession. We had a higher line of engagement, higher line of defensive line, which was worked fairly well for us. We only let in 24 goals or something all season, that I think was pretty decent. And we prevented the goal distribution, the short goal distribution from the keeper. So we put the pressure on there as well. So that was the style of play that we used. This is the formation. We played a straight 4-3-3 with 2 wide men, really 3 central midfield players rather than holding one in that sense. And that's maybe where I struggled. I did play that defensive midfielder occasionally with Chowdhury. And McTominay rotating in that role didn't quite work out, but you can see everybody else in this starting lineup that finished the season in one of the starting lineup positions got over a 7 average rating, even including the goalkeeper, which is pretty impressive in this version of Football Manager to get a 7 point something average rating for a goalkeeper. And you can see beneath that, though, everybody else did the same, pretty much. It was just that one role that I couldn't quite get the best out of. But other than that, we did all right. We played 2 ball-playing defenders in Maguire and Lindelof. The fullbacks were, one was less attacking, one was slightly more attacking. And that showed itself as we went up the pitch as well. Down the left-hand side, Shaw didn't attack so much, but Rashford really did, cutting in off that left-hand side. And he was the star of our show pretty much this season. And either Lingard or Bowen, I will switch Bowen back in because he did play quite a lot in the late part of the season, which is why this particular relationship wasn't as good. But he did usurp Lingard eventually. They both played quite an attacking role, both he and Lingard, you can see on support or attack. And so was Wan-Bissaka, or Dalot was the other one down this right-hand side from the fullback, were quite attacking. So we had quite a potent threat down that side. In central midfield, we played the ball-winning midfielder. We had a deep-line playmaker in Pogba or Cook. And on the right-hand side of the 3, we had Pereira as a Metzala. Now, Pereira playing for Man United for the whole season, you'd expect was another weak link, but he really, really wasn't, because I got a good version of him to start with. And if we go and have a look, it's these things. It's the corner kicks, the free kicks, the long shots, the passing. If you get the right version of Pereira, because there is some discrepancy in what you can be given in his attributes, if you get the right one, he's really quite decent. He's got a lot of gaps in his physicals and mentals, but his technicals can be exceptional, and we made the most of it. He got 6 goals in 35 starts, but 13 assists, which was fantastic. So he was another real key player for us when maybe we didn't expect him to be. And Fred was the backup to this player for most of the season, but in February we sold him on because we had this guy coming through, Hannibal Maybury, and he played 9 games for us, got 1 goal, 1 assist, 7.10 average rating. You can see it, he's not the finished article at 17 years old, but ultimately he was a gamble worth taking to try and bring him on and improve him as we played through the second half of the season, and he did a good enough job for us. Then we had our wide players. We usually played the winger on the right-hand side with either Lingard or Bowen, as we've seen. And then on this left-hand side, we had Rashford or the pace of Dan James. Now, again, Dan James hasn't covered himself in glory in real terms necessarily for United too much. But in my version, he did all right. Over a 7 average rating, 22 starts, 3 goals, 7 assists. Not too bad at all. But it's Rashford that was the star of our show throughout the season. 35 starts, 21 goals, 5 assists, 7.43 average rating from this left wing position, playing the inside forward, and he was fantastic for us all season long, ably supported by, as we've already seen, the incoming Dembele, who got 14 goals in 31 starts for us, but also Martial, who got 25 goals in 30 starts, 15 on the sub bench, and he got 5 assists, 7.32 average rating, and he had a fantastic season as well. So that's how we achieved it all. We did well. I was happy with it. If I was continuing this save, which obviously I haven't, this has sat dormant since October of last year, I would change this squad up again and move it in a different direction slightly maybe. But I think 4th was not too bad. The points total was incredible. We won a couple of bits of silverware, as we've seen, and we had a disappointing Carabao Cup campaign. But overall, I'm happy with how it went. As I say, I definitely won 2, Solskjaer definitely won 1, and then we have the debate on the Premier League, which is all down to you. Let me know in the comments below. Did I win it because I got 17 more points in the Premier League than he did, or did he win it because he finished in 3rd and I only managed 4th? You decide, and it'll either be a 2-2 draw in terms of the battle itself, or I will win 3-1. So over to you. Let me know in the comments below what you think, how we should decide the winner of this. And look out in FM21 for the next beta battle. No idea what club it will be, but let me know what club you'd like to see it be. That first couple of weeks of the new beta version of the game, when we're all learning the new stuff that they put into the game and looking at the new features, what club would you like me to play the beta battle for FM21? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks very much for watching this. Bit of a different type of episode to the ones that we normally put out, but I hope it was interesting nonetheless. I'm fully aware that since I've recorded this series in October, my subscriber count went through the roof. So a lot of you probably won't have seen this series. Go check it out though. It's a bit rough around the edges here and there, but I think it's worth a look. But yeah, this is the recap, just to give you an overall picture of how we did compared to what Solskjaer did. So I hope you found it interesting. So reminder, let me know in the comments what you think, who won the Premier League battle, and also let me know which club you'd like to see for a beta battle in FM21. Thanks very much for joining me. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and join my United City community. The more the merrier. Click that like button on this particular episode. It helps me get seen by lots of other people. Until next time though, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.